to Ephesus Baptist Church Memorial Service that we didn't think we were going to have, but what a blessing that we're going to do something. I thank everyone for tuning in to us, and I just ask you to forgive me if I've forgotten anyone. We try so hard each year from one Memorial Day to the next to make sure that we have everybody. So if there's somebody that I did miss, would you please just let me know, or Miss Paige Harrod, she would be glad to do something also. What we're gonna do today is just a quick little thing for each person that has passed away from last year, Memorial Day, to this year. And I hope everyone enjoys what we're doing, because we were really afraid we wasn't gonna get to do it. But at this time, I'd just like to say a prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you so very much for the opportunity to be back in the church. We just ask you, Lord, just to be with each one of us as we do the things that you'd have us to do. And we just ask you just to be with me as I go throughout the memorial services. I honor the people that have passed away, Lord. I just ask you to give us the words that we need to say to comfort the people that have lost loved ones. Now, as we go through this and we honor the people, we just thank you for all that you do in our lives. These blessings ask in your name. Amen. I have a poem I'd like to read. It's called A Silent Tear. Just close your eyes and you will see all the memories that you have of me. Just sit and relax and you will find I'm really still there inside your mind. Don't cry for me now, I'm gone, for I am in the land of song. There is no pain, there is no fear, so dry away that silent tear. Don't think of me in the dark and cold, for here I am no longer old. I'm in that place that's filled with love, known to you all as up above. And that author is unknown. As we start today, we're going to begin with a very special man to me. His mom kept my children when I worked. Mr. Ray Caldwell of Bowden, Georgia, passed away on June 30th, 2019 after a brief illness. He was 72 years old. He was the son of the late Oscar David Caldwell and Catherine Lowry Caldwell. Besides his parents, he was preceded in death by his in-laws, Gordon and Catola Rollins, a brother-in-law, Gary Wiggins. Ray is survived by his wife of 52 years, Peggy Rollins Caldwell, sister Sarah and J.T. Cook, which J.T. passed away just a little while after Ray did. His sister-in-laws, Clynette Todd, Janice Rollins, and Phyllis Wiggins, and a number of nieces and nephews. Ray was a Vietnam veteran of the United States Army. He retired from Bowden Dental Center as a dental technician after 43 years. He enjoyed tractors and gardening. He made friends easily and often shared meals with them at Southern Lady, especially his co-workers, Hoyt Gay and Kenneth Frost. Mr. Ray Caldwell was laid to rest here in the Ephesus Baptist Cemetery. And I have a rose that I'd like to present in memory of Ray. The next one is Mr. Sergeant James Franklin Terrell Jr., age 94, passed away on July the 20th, 2019. You may have known him as Sergeant Terrell, Jeff, JF, but most of us knew him as a friend. He was always willing to help anyone. That's why he wore so many hats. He graduated from Central Hatchie High School in 1943, married the love of his life, the late Jolly Zane Pope, before being drafted into the U.S. Army. He served our country for almost 3 years. He was discharged in 1946. He owned a fertilizer and mercantile business. He was a farmer and ran tractors. He was always busy providing for his family. JF, as I knew him, was recommended for highway patrolman position by State Representative Artie Rogers. During this position, he was transferred to many different posts. He assisted in the Villarica gas explosion. He was run over by a drunk driver. He directed traffic at the first NASCAR race at the Atlanta Speedway. In the early 1960s, he was assigned to a special detail in Albany, Georgia, to assist one of the attendees, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I can't imagine that. He was shot in 1969 after pulling over a car that was reported stolen, but that didn't stop him either. He wasn't able to return to active road duty, but he was assigned as the head of the Motor Vehicle Inspection Division after being promoted to corporal. After serving there 2 years, he was promoted to sergeant. He then decided to take a medical retirement. According to those who knew him best, he never went a day without mentioning his service for the state of Georgia and how much he missed being a state trooper. Until his death, he continued to be an inspiration to the many state troopers who followed in his footsteps. JF continued to stay active throughout his years until his body failed him. He drove a school bus and worked for Plunkett's Clothing in Bowden after they moved back to the city of Ephesus. Sergeant Terrell was preceded in death by his parents, his wife Jolly Pope Terrell, and a son, Douglas Franklin Terrell. Survivors include a son, James Stewart Terrell, and his wife, Jenny, daughter-in-law, Peg Terrell, 8 grandchildren, 14 great-grandchildren, and a host of other relatives and friends. He was the oldest member of Ephesus Baptist Church at his death. He was buried here at Ephesus Baptist Church. We have a rose also for JF. Our next person was Miss Dorothy Lou Galston Knowles. She passed away on September 16, 2019 at the age of 76. She was born in Randolph County, Alabama. She lived here in Ephesus. She was preceded in death by her parents, Corey P. Galston and Minnie Mae Wilson Galston, her husband, Eugene Knowles. Survivors include her son and daughter-in-law, Tracy and Michelle Knowles, daughter Angela Ponder, Betty Lou Knowles, and Rebecca Knowles, several grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Miss Dorothy was a very hard-working lady all her life. She enjoyed her garden and yard work. She was a member of Ephesus Baptist Church. Keeping with her wishes, her body was cremated. We have a rose for Miss Dorothy. Miss Cassidy Leanne McGowan of Ephesus, Georgia, passed away on September the 23rd, 2019, at 19 years old. Cassidy is preceded in death by her brother, Michael Parsons. She is survived by her parents, Christopher and Jennifer Hudgens, one sister, one brother, two half-sisters, and one half-brother. Maternal grandparents, Richard and Wanda Sebastian, and several aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews. She was a Heard County High School graduate. Cassidy Leanne McGowan was buried in Marianna, Florida, in the Sebastian Family Cemetery. We have a rose for her. Our next one was Agnes Jackson Ward, 85, of West Point, Georgia, passed away October the 9th, 2019. She was the daughter of the late Henry Jackson and Claudia Ely Jackson. Survivors include her daughters Debbie McGee and Janet Ward, sons Donnie Ward and Joey Ward, 4 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren, 2 sisters, 1 brother, several nieces and nephews. Miss Ward was a homemaker and a member of Gray Hill Baptist Church in West Point, Georgia. She was buried here at Ephesus Baptist Church with her family. We have a rose for her. Our next person that passed away was Miss Janice Cook Deany of Ephesus Community. She passed away on December the 12th, 2019, after several years of declining health. She was 87. Miss Janice was preceded in death by her parents, Aaron and Cleo Cook, husbands and a son, Randy Medlock, a sister, Mina. Shortly after her passing, her little girl, passed away also. She is survived by 2 daughters, Rita Aiken and Robin Medlock of Ephesus, her caregiver for 8 years, Linda Warren, 2 grandchildren, and several great-grandchildren. Miss Janice loved all kinds of puzzles. She liked to collect birdhouses and hummingbirds. She liked to read and work in her yards. Miss Deany was cremated per her wishes. A rose for her. Mr. Harold Cook of Bowden, Georgia, passed away on December the 15th, 2019. He was born on March 23rd, 1944, to his parents Henry Allison and Ruthie Mae Cook. Besides his parents, he was preceded in death by his sister, Carolyn Cook Hall. Mr. Harold is survived by his children, John and Christy Cook, Ruthie and Wes Mason, mother of his children, Christine Donahoe, 2 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, his brother Curtis Cook and Henry Cook, and a sister and brother-in-law, Mildred and Raymond Campbell. He was a Vietnam veteran serving in the U.S. Navy. He worked for Rakelock as a long-haul truck driver when he retired. He loved to tinker on things to see how they worked. He was better at taking things apart than putting them back together. He enjoyed going to yard sales and racings of all kinds, but especially dirt track racing. He was an animal lover and had a special place in his heart for his dog, Princess. He was a member of Ephesus Baptist Church. Mr. Harold Cook was buried here at Ephesus Baptist Church. We have a rose for Mr. Harold. Miss Laura Jo Kimbrell Landers was a resident of Pine Knoll Nursing Home, but had lived here in Ephesus most of her life. She passed away on January the 29th, 2020. She was 91 years old. She was born in Randolph County, Alabama, to the late Lloyd and Audie Kimbrell. Besides her parents, she was preceded in death by her husband, Robert Dyer, sisters Dot Smith and Clarice Kimbrell, and a niece, Kathy Smith. She is survived by her great niece, Misty Person, cousins Annie Turner and Linda Williams, and special friends, the Galston family. She retired from baby clothes manufacturing and was a member of Ephesus Church of Christ. She was buried in the Community Garden Cemetery. We have a rose for her. Mr. Jeffrey H. Glissman passed away on February the 7th, 2020 at his home in Pine Mountain, Georgia. He was 79 years old. Mr. Glissman was preceded in death by his parents, Jack Stanley and Doris Snyder Glissman, and his wife, Terry Glissman. He is survived by 3 daughters and 4 sons, 2 sisters, and 13 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren. Mr. Glissman served our country in the Naval Air Corps during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He worked for LaGrange Molding and was a police officer in Detroit before retiring as parts manager for Larry Rich Nissan. He enjoyed playing bass guitar in his church band. He was Baptist by faith. He was an avid dog lover. Mr. Jeffrey Glissman was buried here at Ephesus Baptist Church beside his wife. We have a rose for Mr. Glissman. Patricia Ann Lowry Ponder went to be with the Lord March 9, 2020, surrounded by her family. She was 75 years old. Pat was preceded in death by her parents, Claude and Verdi Lowry, her husband, Charles Ponder, sisters Retha Faye Green and Janice Yarber. She is survived by her sons, Edward Ponder and Dale and Kim Ponder. Her grandchildren, Stephen, Megan, Josh, Brianna Ponder, and Victoria and Blaine Justice, 3 great-grandchildren. Pat was a seamstress for Lamar Manufacturing for many years and a member at Ephesus Baptist Church. She loved cooking and spending time with her family. Pat was buried here at Ephesus Baptist Church. We have a rose for Miss Pat. Our last one just passed away recently. Mr. Randy Yarber went to be with the Lord on May 8, 2020, after several years of declining health. He was 57 years old. He was preceded in death by his parents, W.C. and Janice Yarber, and sister Sandra Graham. He is survived by his wife, Kim Yarber, sons Park Yarber and T.J. Grace Yarber, a stepdaughter, Lauren Ramey, also his in-laws, Reverend Bobby and Margie Robinson. Before his health declined, he worked for the Heard County Water Authority. Randy's favorite things to do was to spend time with his sons, ride his gator, and visit with friends and family. He will be greatly missed by all that knew him. He was a member of Ephesus Baptist Church. Keeping with his wishes, he was cremated. We have a rose for Randy. Thank you. So I guess you all realize that I'm really, really nervous about doing this, but I want to thank the church for always allowing me to be part of it. Because as you read through each obituary, you talk to the families and the friends, you grow really, really close to these people. And I just want you to know that I really love your family members. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to dig into their lives and to really know them. So just stay tuned because you got a treat. Brother Kevin's coming up next. Thank you.